My fiancé and I have been together for over 2 years, and we just recently got engaged. He and I are Catholic, but not very religious. We go to church irregularly, usually on Christmas, Easter, and every now and again. We met through a common friend and started dating, and we really hit it off. When we started dating, we were both much more religious and would go to church every week, and we were going to church much more often then. We were in love, I know and believe this. I knew it for a fact when he proposed to me and asked me to be his wife. The thing is, I wasn't always this religious. I kind of had a troubled past. I used to be very different when I was younger, and that is all behind me now. I put aside that part of my past. I'm a changed and different person now, and that past does not define me, and it has nothing to do with who I am now. I really love him, and I do want to be with him. I know that more than anything. The thing is, he may have been led to believe I'm a virgin based on my religiosity, and we'd never really talked about past sexual partners before. For this reason, he may have thought I'm a virgin. He didn't know about my past, before I became religious again, and how I had in fact, slept with some people. I read often online of husbands who get upset when they find out their wife has lied to them about her sexual history. I decided I didn't want to build our marriage on false beliefs, and thought he'd accept it if I tell him openly that he'd forgive me and still accept me because I know he loves me. I told him about my past. He was very silent and sullen. He didn't get angry, but I told him the truth and told him it's because I wanted him to know the whole truth about my past before he commits to me, because he's a good person and he deserves to know, and I love him too much to hide anything from him. He thanked me for being honest with him, but that was it at the time. 3 days later, he broke up with me. It was so sudden. He seemed unhappy, but he said he was having doubts and he didn't think he's in the right place now for a marriage or a relationship. I told him it's okay, he can take some time for himself, we can call off the wedding, but we don't need to break up. No, he broke up with me completely. He wasn't specific as to why, but I think I know the reason. I think it's because of the conversation from 3 days ago. I feel so angry and hurt now. I tried to be honest with him, and this is what I got. What was I meant to do? Lie? I love him so much. I just want him to take me back. I can't believe my life is crumbling down like this. What should I do? We have been together for 5 years. I started dating him right when we met, right when I turned 19. Basically have been with him since I was still a teenager. 2 summers ago, we split up for a month because of major differences in communication and expectation of one another. We got back together. At the beginning, we kept it casual and both saw other people. After we became official again, he snooped on my Facebook and saw a message from when we just got back together and were both seeing other people I had sent to a guy that was explicit and pictures were exchanged. He freaked, but got over it because it was his terms that we see other people. Regardless, it took me up until this point to regain his trust. We did therapy. Fast forward to a week or so ago. But first, in July, I moved up here, a new state, so he could take a great new job. He asked me to move with him. I hate it here. I am miserable, lonely, bored, and get pretty sick of being lost every time I want to go do something. I miss my family. He hasn't done anything wrong except that all he wants to do is sit on the computer and go on the same jogging route. I have tried very hard to make new couple friends. He has only gone out with us all maybe 3x since we moved. The only time he wants to snuggle or give me attention is of course when I'm in the middle of schoolwork, which I take very seriously, so I don't like to stray when I get started. I touch him all the time. He ignores me and continues yelling at CS, go. So yeah, I'm bored. And I made a stupid choice. A week or so ago, a friend that I game with, don't know him IRL, and I basically sexted. BF snooped my Skype and saw it, came barging into the room last night, telling me how I need to leave in the morning. He just so happened to get the flu, and our conversation ended on that note because he is sick as hell currently. So I guess I just need advice on what to say to my family. It doesn't seem like it, but I do love him. I thought we were going to stay together. I just wanted to do some anonymous internet sex stuff one time because why not? Obviously that's a selfish way to think. And I fucked up. My BF thinks that I have emotionally vested into this man even though we have only had such a conversation once. Our Skype history starts months ago just because we have gamed together before. Not that it matters because I obviously betrayed him. Now I'm wanting to know how I tell my friends, how I tell my family, what a fucking scumbag I am. And what steps do I take now? Because we have lived together so long, and I'm in a different state than everyone I know, with a job so low paying I cannot go out and get a place. I have school, I teach a nutrition class, I have a serious volunteering commitment. What am I supposed to do about these things? Do I try to mend things with him or just leave? Like I said, deeply love this guy, despite my stupid actions. I will apologize for this long post now, and any formatting issues. Here we go. I, 31 female, have lied to my husband, 37 male, in the past and more recently last year, and we keep circling back to my lies every few months. My husband and I have been married 10 years, actually our 11th anniversary is coming up this summer. We met at a bar one night, and we were a one-night stand that stuck. I love my husband. When I think of our future, I only see him in it. For the record, we have been together 12 years in total. We have 2 children, female 11 and male 10. Early on in our relationship, I brought up the question on past partners. He stated his number, and I stated a number. Though to be fair, it wasn't my actual number. To this day, I don't know why I brought up the topic or why I lied after his response. I said a higher number than my actual number. Shortly after we met, we found out we were pregnant with our daughter. Soon after that, my husband had to move to the other side of the country for work, and I happily went with him. I thought this would be perfect, move, start fresh somewhere new and start a family. I was nervous about the baby, but I just chalked it up to every new mother feels this way. I was leaving a well-paid job, with no new job lined up. I figured I could look for work once I got there. I didn't find work in my field, and settled with retail. My husband wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom as well. I wasn't too keen on this idea at all. But I agreed, and stayed home with both children for about 7+ years. All while my husband was working and advancing his career. I enjoyed it eventually, and after a while I was an awesome stay-at-home mom and wife. Shortly after our daughter was born, sexual partners was brought up again, this time by my husband. I said a different number, because I couldn't recall what number I had said earlier. He noticed my discrepancy, and called me on it. We fought. It wasn't pretty, and nothing was resolved. We carried on with life, and had our son a year after our daughter. We lived and had our small family there for 5 years. Occasionally circling back to my lie. He not believing me, because of initial lie. Fast forward 5 years, and it was time for us to move back closer to where we met. Life seemed wonderful, to be honest. We sometimes fought about the sexual partner numbers and lies. But it was once or twice a year. Everything else about our relationship was great, we were each other's best friends. We enjoyed each other's hobbies together, sex life was awesome. Kids were good. Once our kids were 7 and 8, we decided I should go back to work. I couldn't find anything in my field again, and worked as a restaurant manager for about a year. I hated my job, but didn't know what to do. I decided to pursue a totally different career, almost identical to my husband, so we could make moving easier for both of us career-wise. My training for this job took me away from my family for about 10 months. I had some weekends off where I could see them, and Christmas holidays. But for the most part, one was away. My husband is away occasionally for his job as well, so this wasn't something new to us. I was wrong. It definitely felt a lot different for me to be away than when he went away. He was doing great with the kids while I was away. There wasn't even a hiccup while I was out of the picture. For whatever reason, that absolutely bothered me. I felt like all I gave up for the family was all for nothing. Because I wasn't actually required. Maybe that is a silly thought, but I was missing my family, and physically and mentally tired with my work training. Christmas break rolled around and I was home again for a few weeks. Kids and husband were still working and going to school, and I slept a lot. My body was tired for sure, but they would let me sleep for hours sometimes while they were home. No one would wake me. I felt like I was away again, because I was never in the loop. I was annoyed about how seamlessly everyone's transition was while I was away, but didn't say anything because I just wanted to enjoy what time I had with my family. I got blackout drunk one night over Christmas break. So hammered in fact that I fell and smashed my face, caused a black eye, a lot of swelling and numerous cuts on my face. On or before my blackout fall outside, I called my husband Baby Dick. Why I did that, I have no idea. I've come to realize now that I just said that to hurt him. For the record, my husband doesn't have a baby dick and I've always been sexually satisfied with my husband. I have never wanted anyone else sexually either. When I woke up the next day my face was a mess and my husband was furious. We argued a lot for the next few days. But shortly after all that I had to return for my training. Training again was physically and mentally tough, and we argued a lot over the phone. My husband wanted to know why I said that, and I continued to plead that I had no idea why I would say something like that. He thought I was unfaithful, or that I must be thinking about it. My training was with mostly men where we slept in a shared area. For the record, I didn't cheat on my husband. I was approached by 2 other men, but I told them to beat it. I didn't tell my husband about that though, because we already weren't doing very well and in my head it was just easier to not mention. I realize a lie by omission. Fast forward 10 months and my training is done and I'm back home with a new career and new job. Nothing got resolved, and my baby dick comment gets brought up frequently. He thinks I have cheated or possibly something else. Another instance of being to the point of blackout drunk, I said to him that I did have sex with X. I didn't recall I said that, and he never mentioned it for days after. Once again, why I said that I have no clue. I didn't have sex with anyone. Haven't had sex with anyone since our first sexual encounter after the bar. We fought a lot still. And now have new material to add to the fighting because I said I had sex with X. My husband went away for work for a month, and we fought over the phone and through texts. He also messaged the wife of X and told her what I said. I spoke to X's wife on phone and she believed myself and her husband that we didn't have sex. My husband wasn't convinced and felt like I portrayed him in a horrible light over the phone. For context, I or my husband have never met X's wife. My husband met X maybe twice briefly. I was training with X for about 4 months. Now my husband is gone for work for about 6 months in a different country. Prior to him leaving, we fought daily. He was distant. He didn't spend time at home leading up to leaving. He spent more time than necessary at work. He didn't kiss me or touch me much, or if at all, except when a mutual friend spent the weekend. During that weekend when our friend was visiting, he was affectionate, sat next to me. Things seemed a little back to normal. After our friend left, it went back to the coldness. And my husband explained he was only affectionate for our friend's sake, so it wasn't awkward. I finally broke down. Cried a lot, explained that I loved him and didn't want to lose him. I came clean with the reasoning behind my baby dick and having sex with X comment. I told him I felt unwanted and not loved. That I was just trying to hurt him and get some sort of reaction from him. Even if it was the wrong sort of reaction that I was looking for. I told him about the 2 guys who approached me and how I told them to beat it. I told him what I wanted from our relationship and what I thought I was missing. He told me that he loved me and wanted no more lies. But that he wanted me, and we would get through this. Now my husband has been gone for about a month now. Communication is light. The time difference plays a huge part in that. But we were talking, doing well, and honestly, I thought we were in a much better place. This morning, I wake up to a message from my husband saying that he wants to know how many active lies I have going. And won't speak to me until he hears truths. I've messaged him twice with no response. But then he sends me a link for something he wants. I say I can grab it for him. Then back to no communication back from him. I know I am in the wrong here. And I very well might be a horrible person. But what can I do now? I don't want my marriage to end, and I want my husband to be happy and trust me. How can I fix this?